Most people walk through the valley of this life as sleepwalkers. They move, they eat, they work, and they speak, yet their spirits are trapped in a deep and hypnotic slumber. They go through their entire existence believing the greatest lie ever told to humanity. They believe that they are victims of circumstance. They believe they are merely corks bobbing helplessly on a violent ocean, tossed about by waves of fate, luck, and destiny that are entirely out of their control. They look at the economy, the political landscape, the opinions of others, and their own family history, and they bow down before these external idols. They say to themselves that they must accept whatever life hands them because they are powerless to change the conditions that surround them. They pray to a God outside of themselves, looking up into the sky for a savior, hoping for a miracle, waiting for a stroke of luck that never comes. They wait for opportunities to knock on their door while wondering with a heavy heart why their lives remain exactly the same, year after dreary year. But I tell you tonight that this way of living is not life. It is a slow death of the soul. I am here to shake you from this slumber. I am here to tell you that you are not a victim. You have never been a victim. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of external forces, people, or events. The world you see around you is not a prison house that you have been sentenced to inhabit. It is a canvas that you have been commissioned to paint. You are the operant power of your world, and the vast universe itself must respond to you when you learn to speak its language. The secret I am about to reveal to you is the cornerstone of all reality creation. It is the truth that has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, obscured by dogma and superstition. The secret is this: your imagination is God. When I say that your imagination is God, I am not speaking of a God among many gods. I am speaking of the only God there is. I am speaking of the creative power of the universe itself, individualized as you. Do not look for a deity in the clouds or in the temples made by human hands. The creative power of the universe is not something you reach for. It is what you are. It is your own wonderful human imagination. When you imagine, you are not engaging in idle fantasy or childish daydreaming. You are literally creating your future. You are commanding the molecular structure of the universe to rearrange itself according to your imaginal act. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is the absolute truth of existence. You must understand the mechanics of this reality to break free from the illusion of victimhood. The world you see with your physical eyes is not a cause. It is an effect. It is a mirror. If you look into a mirror and see a frown on your face, you do not try to change the reflection by rubbing the glass. That would be madness. You change the reflection by smiling. The mirror has no choice but to smile back. Yet, look at how humanity lives. They fight with the reflection. They wage war against their circumstances. They argue with their bank accounts. They battle their diagnoses. They struggle against their relationships. They exhaust themselves trying to manipulate the shadows on the screen of space, never realizing that they are the ones holding the film and the projector. Everything that exists in your world right now, everything you can see, touch, and experience, first existed as an imaginal act in consciousness. Your present circumstances, your relationships, your health, your wealth or lack thereof, your job, your home, everything in your experience was first imagined before it became fact. There is nothing that appears in your world that does not have its origin in your own consciousness. You might ask yourself how this can be true when you never consciously asked for poverty or illness or heartbreak. This is where the great tragedy of human existence lies. You are constantly imagining every moment of every day. You are creating through imagination. The question is not whether you are using your imagination, for you cannot stop using it. The question is whether you are using it consciously and deliberately to create what you want, or unconsciously to perpetuate what you do not want. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They are the architects of their own prisons. They imagine the worst possible outcomes. They replay past hurts and disappointments over and over again, keeping the wounds fresh and active. They project their current limitations into the future. They hold mental conversations where they are rejected, arguments where they are defensive, and scenarios where they are powerless. Because imagination is the creative power of God. These negative imaginings are prayers. They are commands. The universe does not judge your requests. It does not decide if what you are imagining is good for you or bad for you. It simply fulfills the law. It takes the impress of your habitual thoughts and feelings and projects them onto the screen of space as your reality. And then, tragic as it is, people wonder why their lives are filled with struggle and disappointment. They blame the government. They blame their parents. They blame their bosses. They blame bad luck. But there is no one to blame. There is only self. This realization is the moment of your awakening. It may feel frightening at first to realize that you are the cause of everything in your life. It means you can no longer play the role of the innocent victim. You can no longer point a finger at anyone else. But if you look deeper, you will see that this is the most liberating truth you will ever hear. For if you are the cause of your suffering, then you are also the only one who can end it. If you created your current limitations through unconscious imagining, you can uncreate them through conscious imagining. You can reverse this process. You can begin to use your imagination deliberately and consciously to create the life you truly desire. You do this by learning to control your inner conversations. You do this by disciplining your mind to dwell only on what you want to experience. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled until that assumption becomes natural to you. The sleeping man waits for the world to change before he changes his feeling. He says that he will feel happy when he gets the money. He says that he will feel secure when the health report is positive. He says that he will feel loved when the partner changes their behavior. He is a slave to the mirror. The awakened man knows better. The aware man knows that the feeling must come first. He knows that consciousness is the one and only reality. He knows that he must move into the state of the wish fulfilled in his imagination before it can be seen in the world. Stop looking for signs on the outside. Stop waiting for permission. The power you are seeking is not in a book. It is not in a seminar. It is not in a teacher. It is in you. It is you. You are the operant power. When you say, I am, you are announcing your presence as the creator. Do not limit this I am by following it with poor or sick or weak or unlucky. Every time you do that, you are blaspheming the name of God within you. You are using the divine creative power to limit yourself. Instead, dare to claim your inheritance. Dare to stand in the rubble of your current circumstances and see a palace. Dare to ignore the evidence of your senses which tell you that you are failing, and instead see the success that is inevitable. This is the great challenge. This is the narrow gate. It is easy to react to the world. It requires no effort to feel sad when things go wrong. It requires no effort to feel angry when someone insults you. That is the path of the sleepwalker. That is the path of the victim. But you are called to a higher destiny. You are called to be a conscious creator. You are called to act not as a mirror that reflects the chaos of the world, but as a light that transforms it. You must learn to live from the inside out. You must learn that your imagination is more real than the ground you stand on. The physical world is fluid. It is made of shadows. It changes as your mind changes, but your consciousness is eternal. It is the rock upon which all things stand. So tonight, I ask you to make a choice. It is the most important choice of your life. Will you continue to be a victim of a world you created? Or will you accept the responsibility of your own divinity? Will you continue to beg the mirror to smile? Or will you smile first? The universe is waiting for your command. It is holding its breath, waiting for you to remember who you are. You are not a body with a soul. You are a soul that has taken on a body. You are the infinite dreamer dreaming a finite dream. It is time to wake up. It is time to stop trying to force the world to change and start being the person you want to be. It is time to realize that the only things preventing you from living your ideal life are the limits you have accepted in your own mind. Tear down those walls. Reclaim your power. Step out of the darkness of victimhood and into the blazing light of your true identity. You are the creator. You are the operant power. And it is time for you to begin your work. Now that you have awakened to the truth that you are the operant power of your reality and that victimhood is nothing more than a self-imposed slumber, we must move deeper into the mechanics of creation. It is not enough to simply know that you are the creator. You must know how to operate the machine. You must understand the specific law that governs how your imagination transforms into physical fact. This law is absolute. It is as precise as the laws of chemistry or physics, and it works without exception. It is the law of assumption. To understand this law, we must make a distinction so sharp and so vital that it constitutes the dividing line between those who manifest their desires and those who remain in a state of perpetual longing. This is the distinction between thinking of your desire and thinking from your desire. Most people in this world spend their entire lives thinking of what they want. They look at their desires as if they are objects in a shop window, separated from them by a pane of glass. They see the money they want to earn, but they see it as something over there, something they must strive for, something they do not currently possess. They see the health they desire, but they view it from the perspective of their sickbed. They see the relationship they crave, but they look at it through the eyes of loneliness. When you think of a state, you are acknowledging separation. You are confessing to the universe that you do not have it. And because the law of assumption is a law of perfect reflection, the universe must confirm your confession. If you say, "I want," the universe replies, "Yes, you want." It gives you the experience of wanting. It gives you the experience of lack. To desire a state is to confess that you are not in it. And so long as you think of it, you remain outside of it. You must learn to think from the end. To think from the end is to mentally inhabit the state you desire. It is to look at the world from the perspective of the person you wish to be. Let me illustrate this with a simple analogy of space. If I am in New York City, I can think of London. I can visualize the Big Ben. I can remember the streets. But I am seeing them as a distant object. I am here in New York, and London is over there. But if I am actually in London, I do not think of London. I think from London. I see the world from the vantage point of London. New York is now the distant object. This is the exact shift you must make in your consciousness regarding your desires. You must not stand in your present limitations and look at your goal. You must stand in your goal and look back at your present limitations as if they were the past. This requires a radical shift in your identity. Assumption is not merely a thought you have. It is a suit you wear. It is an appropriation of a state of consciousness. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are telling the universe that the transaction is complete. You are not asking for it to happen. You are declaring that it has happened. The great tragedy is that people believe they must wait for physical evidence before they can feel the reality of their desire. They say they will feel secure when the money is in the bank. They say they will feel loved when the partner proposes. But this is backward. This is the cart before the horse. The feeling is the cause, and the physical evidence is the effect. You must assume the feeling of security now. You must assume the feeling of being loved now. You must appropriate the state of consciousness first, and then the physical world, which is nothing more than a mirror, will have no choice but to reflect that state back to you. Let us go deeper into the psychology of this. When you think from the end, you are unifying the subject and the object. There is no longer me and it. There is only I am. The gap is closed. This is the mystical marriage spoken of in ancient texts. It is the union of your awareness with your desire. when you become one with the state you desire, when you can say, I am wealthy with the same conviction that you say, I am a human being. Manifestation is instantaneous in the eyes of God, and its appearance in time is inevitable. But as long as you maintain the gap, as long as you place your desire on a pedestal to be worshipped or yearned for, you keep it away from you. You push it into the future, and the future never comes because you are always living in the now. If you are waiting for the future, you are living in a state of waiting, and you will continue to wait forever. Consider the example of a new home. If you want a new home, you might spend hours looking at listings, wishing you could afford them, imagining how nice it would be to live there. That is thinking of the house. That is a confession of homelessness or dissatisfaction. Now, how do you think from the house? You close your eyes. You dismiss the evidence of your senses that tell you that you are in a small apartment. You dare to assume that you are now standing in the living room of your dream home. You do not see the house as an image in your mind. You are inside the image. You feel the texture of the furniture with your imaginal hands. You walk through the halls. You look out the window and see the view that would be there if you were truly in that house. You feel the sense of relief and pride that comes with ownership. You sleep in that house in your imagination. By doing this, you are casting your anchor into the future reality and pulling yourself towards it. You are marking the spot in consciousness, and your physical life must move to occupy that spot. This practice forces you to confront the greatest adversary you will ever face, which is your own rational mind. Your reason will scream at you. It will tell you that you are deluding yourself. It will point to your empty wallet or your medical reports and call you a fool. But you must understand that reason is based on the past. Reason is based on the digestion of past sensory data. It cannot predict a future that is unlike the past. Imagination, on the other hand, is the power of God that transcends the past. To create a new reality, you must be willing to look foolish to your rational mind. You must be willing to deny the evidence of your senses in favor of the evidence of your imagination. You must walk by faith, not by sight. Faith does not mean believing in something that does not exist. Faith means remaining loyal to the unseen reality that you have created in your imagination until it hardens into fact. The universe does not hear what you say with your lips. It hears what you say with your feeling. Your feeling is your true prayer. If you are saying, I am successful with your lips, but inside you are feeling the tight knot of anxiety and the heavy weight of failure, the universe hears the anxiety. It hears the failure because you are thinking of success, but you are thinking from failure. Your internal stance, your true dwelling place, is in the state of failure. You must move your dwelling place. You must mentally pack your bags and move into the state of success. You must occupy it. You must linger there. You must bathe in it until the smell of success is on you, until the tone of success is in your voice, until the posture of success is in your spine. This is why I tell you that you must abandon the I will be. I will be is a confession that I am not. The name of God is I am. It is a present tense reality. Everything happens in the now. When you assume it is done. It is finished. The relief you feel when a desire is fulfilled is the signal that you have successfully moved from thinking of to thinking from. If you are still anxious, if you are still wondering when it will come, if you are still checking the mail for results, you have not truly assumed. You are still thinking of the desire. You are still wondering how to bridge the gap. But when you have truly assumed, the gap is gone. You feel a deep, quiet certainty. You feel the Sabbath, the rest. You do not look for the results because you already have the reality inside of you. You know that the physical world is just a delayed reflection, a shadow that takes time to catch up to the object casting it. Let us apply this to a relationship. If you are lonely and desire a partner, thinking of a partner reinforces your loneliness. You visualize a face, but you feel an empty space beside you. You wonder where they are. You worry you are running out of time. This is the consciousness of separation. To think from the relationship, you must dare to feel the presence of that person right now. You must feel the ring on your finger. You must feel the subtle psychological shift of being part of a couple. You must think from the state of being loved, cherished, and secure. You walk down the street and you feel different because you are no longer a person searching. You are a person who has found. This change in your internal atmosphere is what the universe responds to. It does not respond to your need. It responds to your nature. When your nature changes from seeker to finder, the object of your search rushes to meet you. You are the operant power, but you are also the master programmer of your own subconscious. Your subconscious mind is the builder of your body and your world, but it takes its orders from your conscious assumptions. It does not argue. It does not judge. If you assume you are a victim, it builds a prison. If you assume you are free, it builds a palace. The distinction between thinking of and thinking from is the language code that the subconscious understands. Thinking of is a passive suggestion. Thinking from is a direct command. When you think from the end, you are imprinting the subconscious with a new blueprint. And once that blueprint is impressed, once that seed is planted in the fertile soil of the deep mind, no power on earth can stop it from growing. So tonight, I challenge you to examine your desires. Look at them closely. Are you holding them at arm's length? Are you worshipping them as distant idols? Or are you brave enough to step into them? Are you brave enough to wear them? Are you brave enough to claim them as your own right now? In the face of contradictory evidence, this is the secret of the ages. This is the key that unlocks the door to the prison of circumstance. Stop trying to get things. Start being the person who already has them. Stop trying to change the world. Change your assumption of yourself, and the world will reshape itself around your new identity. This is the law. It is simple, but it is not easy. It requires vigilance. It requires the discipline to catch yourself when you slip back into thinking of, and gently but firmly bring yourself back to thinking from. It requires you to be the master of your attention, to direct it not to the shadows of the outer world, but to the light of your inner truth. You are the king of your kingdom. Your assumption is your decree. Decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you. But you must decree it from the throne of authority, from the conviction of I am, not from the beggar's position of I hope. Assume the dignity of your desire. Wear it, live it, be it, and watch as the shadows flee before the light of your new consciousness. We have spoken of the awakening, the realization that you are the operant power, and we have drawn the crucial line between thinking of your desire and thinking from it. Now we arrive at the very heart of this teaching, the practical application that separates the dreamer from the master. This is the art of living in the end. It is one thing to visit the state of your wish fulfilled for a brief moment during meditation or prayer, but it is an entirely different matter to take up residence there. To live in the end means to make your desired state your permanent dwelling place, your mental home, the habitual atmosphere to which you return every time your mind wanders. This is the secret that turns the invisible into the visible. For the universe does not respond to a visitor, it responds to a resident. You must not be a tourist in the land of your dreams. You must become a native. The greatest barrier to living in the end is the obsession with the how. The human mind, in its limited understanding, is obsessed with the means. You ask how it will happen, when it will happen, and who will help it happen. You worry about the steps, the obstacles, and the logistics. I tell you tonight that the how is not your business. The how belongs to the wisdom of the deeper self, the dimension of you that is greater than your conscious reasoning mind. When you assume the end, you must totally and completely surrender the means. You must trust that the bridge of incidents will appear. This bridge is a series of events that will lead you from where you are physically to where you are mentally. These events may seem like coincidences. They may even seem like difficulties or challenges at first. You might lose a job only to find a better one. You might miss a train only to meet the love of your life on the next one. If you are living in the end, you do not judge these events. You know that they are simply the unfolding of the script you have written. You do not need to build the bridge. You only need to cross it. To live in the end is to live in the feeling of relief. This is a subtle but profound distinction that many miss. When you desire something, you feel tension. You feel a hunger. You feel an anxiety about whether you will get it. But when you have it, really have it, what do you feel? You feel relief. You feel a deep, settling exhale of the soul. The battle is over. The search is done. You are no longer looking for it because you possess it. If you want to know if you are truly living in the end, ask yourself if you feel the relief of possession. If you are still anxious, you are not in the end. If you are still strategizing, you are not in the end. Living in the end is a state of Sabbath, a state of mental rest where you know it is finished. You go about your day, you wash the dishes, you drive your car, you do your work, but you do it all with the underlying quiet confidence of the person who has already succeeded. Let us explore the law of reversibility, a principle of physics that applies equally to the spirit. Electricity can produce magnetism, and conversely, magnetism can produce electricity. If a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then a psychological state can produce a physical fact. If having $1 million would make you feel secure and generous, then assuming the feeling of security and generosity must, by law, produce the $1 million. The cause and the effect are reversible. You have been trained to believe that the physical fact is the cause and the feeling is the effect. I am telling you to reverse this. Make the feeling the cause. Assume the feeling that would be yours if your prayer were answered. And the physical world must rearrange itself to match that feeling. This is not faking it. This is operating the law of creation. You are hacking the code of reality by providing the output code, the feeling to generate the input code, the fact. You must become an actor who never breaks character. Imagine you are cast in the role of a healthy, wealthy, loved individual. You do not stop playing the role just because the camera stops rolling or because you step off the stage. You wear the character like a second skin. When you look in the mirror and see wrinkles or signs of age, you look through them to the eternal youth of your imagination. When you look at your bank balance and see a small number, you do not react with fear. You smile, knowing it is just a remnant of an old script, a shadow of a past assumption that is already fading away. You do not let the outer world dictate your inner mood. You dictate the mood, and you compel the outer world to reflect it. This requires a certain stubbornness. You must be obstinate in your assumption. You must refuse to accept the evidence of your senses when they contradict your desire. The senses are useful for navigating the physical world, but they are terrible masters of your destiny. They only tell you what is, not what can be. Living in the end also means changing your inner conversations. We are always talking to ourselves. There is a constant monologue going on in your head. What are you saying? Are you arguing with people? Are you justifying your failures? Are you complaining about the economy? These inner conversations are the breeding ground of your future. If you are living in the end, your inner conversations must match that end. You would not be mentally arguing with a boss about a raise if you were already the owner of the company. You would not be mentally defending your health if you were already vibrant and strong. You must align your inner speech with your fulfilled desire. Listen to your thoughts. If they contradict your assumption, stop them immediately. Rewrite the script. Hear your friends congratulating you. Hear yourself saying thank you to the universe. Make your inner world a match for the outer world you wish to inhabit. The beauty of living in the end is that it takes the effort out of manifestation. When you are trying to make something happen, it is exhausting. You are pushing against the world. You are fighting the current. But when you live in the end, you are flowing with the current. You are allowing, you are accepting, you are simply vibrating at the frequency of your desire. And like attracts like. You become a magnet. Opportunities find you. People are drawn to you. Resources appear. It feels effortless because you are not forcing the external world to change. You have changed the internal prototype. And the external world is simply printing a copy. You do not struggle to be who you are. You simply are. If you assume you are that person, the struggle ceases and the unfolding begins. This practice requires you to live in two worlds simultaneously. You live in the physical world of Caesar, paying your taxes and doing your chores. But at the same time, you live in the spiritual world of imagination, where your desire is a done deal. You do not ignore your physical responsibilities, but you perform them from a different state of consciousness. You might be sweeping the floor, but in your imagination, you are sweeping the floor of your mansion. You might be walking to the bus stop, but in your imagination, you are walking to your executive office. You overlay the true reality of imagination onto the shadow reality of the physical world. Eventually, the overlay becomes the only reality. The two worlds merge, and the dry land of your desire appears through the retreating waters of your current limitations. Do not be discouraged by time. Time is an illusion of the senses. In the realm of imagination, there is no time, only the eternal now. When you live in the end, you collapse time. You bring the future into the present. Do not say, I will be happy. That is a trap. That puts happiness in the future, just out of reach like a carrot on a stick. Say, I am happy. Be happy now, because of what you are seeing in your imagination. The joy of the answered prayer must be experienced before the prayer is answered physically. If you wait for the physical proof to be happy, you are not living in the end. You are living in the dead past. You are letting the dead bury the dead. You must be the resurrection. You must resurrect the state of your desire by breathing the life of your own joy and gratitude into it right now. Remember that feelings are the language of the soul. The universe cannot hear your logic, but it vibrates to your feelings. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a frantic, high-energy excitement. That is often just nervous energy. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is a naturalness. It feels natural to be wealthy. It feels natural to be healthy. It feels natural to be loved. It does not feel like a miracle. It feels like your birthright. When you can make your desire feel natural, when you can say, of course, to your success, then you have truly mastered the art of living in the end. A poor man feels it is natural to be poor. He feels awkward in luxury. A rich man feels it is natural to be rich. He feels awkward in poverty. You must practice the feeling of your new state until the awkwardness fades and it fits you like a comfortable old shoe. So, how do you sustain this? You return to it. You will fall out of the state. You will react to the news. You will get angry. You will doubt. This is human. Do not condemn yourself. Just simply return. Return to the end. Return to the feeling. Just as a compass needle swings back to the north after being disturbed, let your mind swing back to your assumption the moment the disturbance passes. The more you practice this return, the more stable your needle becomes, until eventually it points true north without wavering. You build a momentum of faith. You build a residence of power. And one day, you look around and realize that the imaginary world you inhabited has hardened into rock-solid fact. And you will know that you did it. You did it not by labor, not by force, but by the gentle, persistent art of living in the end. Before we proceed to the nightly technique that will imprint your desire directly into the subconscious, I invite you to pause for a moment. If you are finding value in this deeper understanding of the law, if you feel something awakening within you, then join our community of conscious creators. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. By doing so, you are not just following a channel, you are affirming your commitment to this new way of being. You are signaling to yourself that you are ready to master your reality. Do not let this just be another video you watch and forget. Make this channel your daily reminder of who you truly are. Now, let us discover the secret of the night. We have traveled through the awakening of your true identity and the discipline of your daily thoughts. But now we arrive at the most practical, the most mechanical, and the most potent tool in your spiritual arsenal. It is the technique of the state akin to sleep, which many of you know as SATS, and the mystical application of sleep itself. You spend 1/3 of your life in sleep. If you live to be 60, you will have slept for 20 years. Ask yourself, what are you doing with those 20 years? Are you merely resting the body, repairing the cells, and escaping the trials of the day? If so, you are wasting a divine opportunity. Sleep is not merely a pause in your existence. It is the gateway to the subconscious. It is the creative workshop of God. It is the time when the conscious mind, which is often filled with doubts and sensory limitations, steps aside, and the door to the deep self swings wide open. What you take into that door determines what you will encounter in your waking world tomorrow. The subconscious mind is the builder of your reality, but it is a builder that takes instructions. It does not generate the idea, you do. It accepts the blueprint you provide and builds it without question. The problem for most people is that they provide the blueprint of their worries. They take their financial troubles, their arguments, and their physical pains into bed with them. They replay the hurts of the day as they drift off, and the subconscious, being a faithful servant, says, "Is this what you want? Very well." And it proceeds to objectify those worries into the events of the next day. You must learn to stop this unconscious habit and replace it with a deliberate act of creation. This is where the state akin to sleep becomes your magic wand. SATS is not full sleep, and it is not full wakefulness. It is that drowsy, dreamy, heavy-lidded state where you are still in control of your attention. But your physical body is completely immobilized and relaxed. In this state, the wall between the conscious and subconscious is thinnest. In this state, your assumption sinks down into the deep mind like a stone sinking into water, creating ripples that reach the furthest shores of your universe. Here is exactly how you must apply this technique. I want you to be very specific. Do not be vague. Do not just think, "I want to be happy." That is too diffuse. Choose a specific desire. Now, construct a scene, a short, brief scene that implies the fulfillment of that desire. Note that I said implies the fulfillment. The scene must follow the accomplishment of the goal. It must be a scene that could only happen if your desire were already a reality. If you want a promotion, do not imagine yourself working hard. Imagine your boss shaking your hand and congratulating you on the new position. If you want to be married, do not imagine the dating app. Imagine the weight of a wedding ring on your finger. If you want health, imagine a doctor telling you that your results are incredible. The scene must be short, perhaps 5 to 10 seconds long, so that you can repeat it without your mind wandering. Now, tonight, when you get into bed, lie on your back or in a position that you find most comfortable, but one that allows you to stay still. Close your eyes and induce this drowsy state. You can do this by simply relaxing your muscles, starting from your feet and moving up to your head, telling them to let go. Imagine your body is melting into the mattress. When you reach that state where you feel you could move if you wanted to, but you have no desire to do so, you are in SATS. Now, bring up your scene. But here is the critical part that most people miss. You must not watch the scene as if you are a spectator in a theater. You must be the actor in the scene. You must see the world through your own eyes. You must not see yourself. You must see what you would see if you were there. You must give this scene the tones of reality. This means sensory vividness. The most powerful sense in the imagination is touch. In your scene, touch something. If you are shaking a hand, feel the texture of the skin, the grip of the fingers, the solidity of the other person. If you are holding a check, feel the paper between your thumb and forefinger. If you are wearing a ring, feel the cold metal against your skin. Make it solid. Then add sound. Hear the voice of the friend congratulating you. Hear the tone of their voice, the specific timbre. Hear the ambient noise of the room. Smell the air. Taste the wine. Engage as many senses as you can. The more sensory detail you add, the more your subconscious accepts it as a physical fact. The subconscious cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. To the subconscious, if you can touch it and hear it, it is real. Once you have the scene and you are in the scene, begin to loop it. Play it over and over again like a short video loop. Shake the hand. Hear the congratulations. Feel the joy. Then go back to the beginning and do it again. Shake the hand. Hear the congratulations. Feel the joy. Do this over and over. Why repetition? Because the mind is a wanderer. It wants to run away to what you need to do tomorrow or what happened yesterday. The loop keeps the mind tethered to the assumption. It focuses your attention like a laser beam. As you repeat this loop, you will find that the effort decreases. The scene will become automatic. It will start to take on the hallucinations of reality. You will begin to feel as though you are actually there. You might even be startled by how real it feels. Your goal is to repeat this action until you feel yourself slipping away into the deep ocean of sleep. You want to carry this action right across the threshold of consciousness. You want this scene to be the very last thing you possess before you lose yourself in sleep. This is the act of spiritual impregnation. You are impregnating the subconscious with the seed of your desire. Sleep is the incubation period. Just as a mother does not interfere with the child growing in her womb, you do not need to interfere with the seed growing in your subconscious during the night. The subconscious has 6 to 8 hours to work on this idea, to weave it into the fabric of the universe, to arrange the coincidences and the meetings and the incidents that will bring it to pass. If you find that your mind wanders during this process, do not be angry. Do not get frustrated. Frustration pushes you out of the drowsy state and wakes you up. Simply, gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to the scene. Start the loop again. It is a discipline. It is a mental muscle that you are building. At first, you may only be able to do it for a few seconds before your mind jumps away. But with practice, you will be able to hold the scene steady until sleep overtakes you. And if you cannot visualize images clearly, do not panic. Some people are not visual. Use sound. Hear the voice over and over. Or simply use the feeling of touch. Or even simpler, use a short phrase, a lullaby of success. Repeat a phrase like, thank you, or it is wonderful, or it is finished. Repeat it with a feeling of gratitude, implying that the wish is fulfilled. The feeling is the secret, not the picture. The picture is just a tool to evoke the feeling. There is a mystery here that you must respect. When you successfully fall asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled, you have performed the greatest act of creation possible for a human being. You have successfully planted the seed. Now, when you wake up in the morning, this is the test. Do not dig up the seed. How do you dig up the seed? By waking up and immediately checking your phone to see if it happened. By waking up and worrying about the lack of it. By waking up and returning to your old identity. No. You wake up with the lingering fragrance of the night's experience. You wake up with a quiet confidence, and knowing that it is done. You may not see it in the room yet, But you know you experienced it in the only place that matters, consciousness. You must do this night after night. How long? Until the desire is fulfilled? No. You do it until you reach the point of explosion, the point of saturation. There will come a night when you feel a sudden release, a feeling that it is finished. You will feel that you cannot do it anymore because it feels so done. It feels like a memory. When you reach the point where your imaginal act feels like a memory of something that has already happened, then you can stop. The seed is firmly planted. It has died to become fruit, but until you reach that point of conviction, you persist. You go back to the bedroom every night, not as a place of rest, but as a laboratory of God. Some of you will say, "But I have insomnia," or "I cannot focus." I tell you, you can focus on your worries perfectly well. You can focus on your arguments perfectly well. You have the ability to focus. You have just been misusing it. As for insomnia, SATS is a state of relaxation. Even if you do not fall asleep immediately, the act of resting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is regenerating. It is better to lie awake in the feeling of being wealthy than to sleep in the feeling of being poor. But if you persist in the relaxation, sleep will come. It is natural. Do not try to force sleep. Just focus on the action. And let sleep come as a thief in the night to steal you away from the physical world. Remember the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. You are Jacob. The angel is your controlled imagination. You must wrestle with your wandering mind. You must hold on to the blessing until you break the day, until the light of understanding dawns. Do not let your mind go until it blesses you with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This nightly drama is the most important work you will ever do. It is more important than your job, your career, or your social life, because this nightly act creates the world you will live in. You are rewriting the script of your life while the rest of the world is unconscious. You are the silent architect working in the shadows to build a cathedral of light. Do not treat this lightly. Do not do it once and forget it. Make it a ritual. Make it a sacred appointment with your higher self. Tonight, before you drift off, refuse to be a victim of your day. Refuse to let the news or the arguments or the bills dictate your last thought. Seize the helm of your ship. Steer it into the harbor of your desire. Drop the anchor in the feeling of "it is finished." And let the deep tides of the subconscious lift you up and carry you to the shores of your fulfillment. You have the tool. You have the knowledge. Now you must apply it. You must do the work. No one can sleep for you. No one can dream for you. You must enter the Holy of Holies yourself and commune with the God within. And the God within, who sees in secret, will reward you openly. We have discussed the techniques of the night, the planting of seeds in the fertile soil of the subconscious. But now we must address the soil itself. You can plant the finest seed in the world, the seed of great wealth or perfect health. But if the soil is toxic, if the ground is barren and filled with the weeds of a poor self-image, the seed will struggle to take root. This brings us to the most fundamental aspect of reality creation, the foundation upon which your entire life rests. I am speaking of your self-concept. Your self-concept is not merely what you think about yourself when you look in the mirror. It is the sum total of every belief, every assumption, and every feeling you hold true about who you are and what you deserve. It is the invisible thermostat of your life. You will never, under any circumstances, rise higher than your concept of yourself. You may temporarily attract success or love, but if your self-concept does not match that new reality, you will unconsciously sabotage it to bring yourself back down to the level of your internal setting. This is why lottery winners lose their millions. This is why people find the partner of their dreams only to drive them away with insecurity. They try to put new wine into old wineskins. They try to overlay a reality of abundance onto a consciousness of poverty. The wineskins burst, and the wine is lost. To change your world permanently, you must change your concept of self. You must be willing to die to the old person you have been. This is a radical psychological death. You must stop telling the old stories that define you as a victim. You must stop identifying with your past failures, your traumas, and your limitations. As long as you carry the identity of the struggling artist, or the unlucky in love, or the sickly person, you will continue to manifest experiences that confirm that identity. The universe is a mirror that has no choice but to reflect what you are. If you are identifying as a victim, the universe will send you oppressors to justify your victimhood. Changing your self-concept requires a mental diet of the highest order. You must become vigilant about the I am statements you make. Every time you say, I am tired, I am broke, or I am confused, you are cementing that reality. You must begin to claim your new identity before you see it in the world. You must walk with the posture of the person you wish to be. You must react to life as that person would react. Ask yourself constantly how the ideal version of you would handle this situation. Would the wealthy version of you worry about this bill? Would the loved version of you be jealous of this text message? If the answer is no, then you must stop reacting in that way. You must elevate your inner state to match your ideal. This is not arrogance, it is spiritual alignment. It is recognizing that you are God in action and that it is below your dignity to identify with states of lack and limitation. But I hear the question arising in your mind. You ask how you can change your concept of self when your past is filled with mistakes and your present is filled with evidence of your limitations. You ask what to do when you have a terrible day, when you fall back into old habits, or when the world knocks you down. This is where I give you the greatest tool of all, a tool that allows you to alter the past and cleanse the future. I call it the pruning shears of revision. This technique is the key to true freedom because it releases you from the tyranny of the past. Most people believe the past is fixed, that it is a statue made of stone that cannot be changed. I tell you that the past is fluid. The past exists only in your memory, and memory is a form of imagination. If you can change the memory, you change the effect that the past has on your present. Here is how you use the pruning shears of revision. At the end of every day, before you go to sleep, review the events of the day. Go through your day mentally, from the moment you woke up to the moment you are lying in bed. Do not judge it. Just observe it. You will find moments that did not go as you wished. Perhaps you had an argument with your spouse. Perhaps you received a rejection letter. Perhaps you felt the pain in your body. Now, this is the crucial moment. Do not accept these events as final. Take your imaginary pruning shears and cut those dead branches off the vine of your life. Rewrite the scene. Replay the event in your imagination. But this time, revise it to happen exactly as you wished it had happened. If you had an argument, imagine that instead of fighting, you and your spouse had a loving conversation. Hear the gentle words, feel the embrace. If you received a rejection letter, imagine that you opened the envelope and read a letter of acceptance. Feel the thrill of success. If you felt pain, imagine that you went through the day with vitality and strength. Replay this revised version over and over in your imagination until it feels real, until it crowds out the memory of what actually happened physically. You are literally overwriting the data in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between the physical fact and the revised imaginal act. When you revise the day, you neutralize the negative energy of the event. You stop the seed of that negative event from growing into your future. You break the cycle of karma. This is not lying to yourself. This is exercising your divine power to select your reality. If you do not revise your day, you carry the residue of today's failures into tomorrow. You wake up with the same heavy energy, and you recreate the same patterns. But if you revise, you wake up free. You wake up with a clean slate. You have changed the timeline. By changing the past, you change the trajectory of the future. I have seen miracles happen through this technique. I have seen relationships that were on the brink of divorce healed overnight because one partner dared to revise the arguments. I have seen business failures turned into successes because the individual revised the bad news. The people involved in these events will actually change their behavior towards you. They will not know why, but they will respond to your new revised consciousness. This brings us to the profound truth that everyone is you pushed out. This is a difficult pill for many to swallow, but it is the medicine that cures all conflict. The people in your life are reflecting your own consciousness back to you. They are playing the roles you have assigned to them in your internal script. If you believe someone is rude, they will be rude to you. If you believe someone is trustworthy, they will be trustworthy. When you revise a conversation with someone, you are changing your concept of them, and because there is no separation in consciousness, when you change your concept of them, they must change their behavior to match your new concept. You are not manipulating them. You are shifting the version of them that you are encountering in your reality. You are moving to a timeline where a better version of them exists. So, you see, self-concept and revision go hand in hand. Your self-concept dictates what you experience, and revision is the tool you use to maintain that self-concept when the world tries to tarnish it. Think of your mind as a garden. Your self-concept is the design of the garden, the layout of the flowers and the trees. But weeds will grow, negative thoughts, doubts, fears, and unpleasant reactions will spring up during the day. If you leave them, they will choke your beautiful garden. Revision is the act of gardening. It is the daily pruning of the weeds. You do not let the sun go down on your anger. You do not let a negative state harden into a fact. You catch it at the end of the day, and you prune it, you transmute it. You turn the lead of a bad day into the gold of a perfect memory. This requires humility. It requires you to admit that you are the cause of your life. It is much easier to blame the other person, to stew in self-righteous anger, and to play the victim. But the victim has no power. The reviser has all the power. Are you willing to give up the pleasure of being right in an argument to have the peace of a happy relationship? Are you willing to give up your story of struggle to have the life of abundance? You must sacrifice the old man to give birth to the new. You must be willing to let go of your grievances. A grievance is nothing more than a memory of pain that you are keeping alive with your attention. Use the pruning shears. Cut it off. Replace it with a memory of harmony. As you practice this art of revision, and as you diligently build your new self-concept, you will notice a change in your physical structure. Your face will soften, your posture will change, the tone of your voice will change. You will radiate a different frequency. People will look at you and wonder what has happened. They will sense a power in you, a stability that was not there before. This is the emergence of your true self. The God self that has been buried under layers of conditioning. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. You are returning to the Garden of Eden, which is not a place on a map, but a state of consciousness where you tend your garden and ensure that only the good, the beautiful, and the true are allowed to grow. Do not neglect this duty. It is a spiritual hygiene. You would not go to bed without washing the dirt off your body. So why do you go to bed with the dirt of the day on your mind? Cleanse yourself, revise. Enter sleep in a state of victory. Enter sleep in the consciousness of your ideal self. If you do this consistently, your self-concept will become rock solid. You will no longer be tossed about by the opinions of others or the vagaries of fortune. You will stand firm in the knowledge that you are the creator, and that even if you stumble, even if you fall, you have the power in your imagination to pick yourself up, revise the fall, and continue walking towards the stars. This is the path of mastery. This is the way of the awakened soul. Be diligent with your garden, and the harvest will be bountiful beyond your wildest dreams. We have journeyed together through the awakening from victimhood, the distinction of thinking from the end, the art of living in the wish fulfilled, the nightly technique of sats, and the daily discipline of revision. Now, we arrive at the summit of this mountain. We arrive at the silence where the true power of creation resides. We arrive at the mystery of your own name. Throughout this lecture, I have told you that your imagination is God, but for many, this is still just an intellectual concept. To make it a living reality, you must meet God. And to meet God, you do not look up to the sky. You look within. You must come to know the only true name of the Creator, which is the same name you use to define yourself. That name is I am. This is not a phrase you utter lightly. It is the most powerful vibration in the universe. It is the creative fiat. Before you can say, I am rich, I am poor, I am happy, or I am sad, you must first say I am. You must exist before you can define your existence. This I am is your unconditional consciousness. It is the awareness of being stripped of all masks, all labels, and all conditions. It is a pure, unconditioned reality that was before the world was. The tragedy of man is that he has forgotten this unconditioned self. He has become so identified with the masks he wears that he believes he is the mask. He believes he is John, the accountant, who is struggling with debt. He believes he is Mary, the mother who is worried about her children. He has forgotten that he is the I am who is playing the part of John and playing the part of Mary. To reclaim your power, you must practice what I call the silent prayer. This is not a petition to a deity. It is a remembrance of your true identity. I want you to close your eyes to the outer world. Withdraw your attention from your physical body. Withdraw your attention from the room you are in. Withdraw your attention from your problems, your history, and your name. Begin to strip away everything that you think you are. Stop being a man or a woman. Stop being a success or a failure. Stop being young or old. Peel away these layers like the skins of an onion until you arrive at the core. What is left when you remove every description? Only the feeling of existence. Only the feeling of being. You are faceless, formless, and boundless. You are simply a center of awareness floating in a vast ocean of silence. You just are. Rest in this state. This is the Sabbath of the soul. This is the moment you touch the hem of the garment of God. In this silence, you are no longer the victim of circumstances because there are no circumstances here. You are no longer limited by your past because there is no past here. There is only the eternal, now. In this state of pure I am, you are the potter standing before the clay. You are the creator standing before the void. This is the point of absolute power. From this state of unconditioned awareness, you can choose to be anything. You can cast yourself into any mold you desire. This is how you pray. You do not beg. Begging implies separation. Begging implies that you do not have, and that you are asking someone who does have to give it to you. That is the consciousness of lack, and it will only create more lack. True prayer is the appropriation of the state. It is the marriage of the unconditioned I am with the conditioned desire. While you are floating in this silence, while you are feeling this expansion of your true self, you gently attach your new concept to your I am. You do not shout it, you feel it. You merge with it. You say to yourself, I am wealthy. But you do not say it as a hope. You say it as a fact. You feel the garment of wealth wrapping around your formless self. You say, I am healthy. You feel the vitality filling the void. You say, I am loved. You feel the warmth of connection saturating your being. When you emerge from this silence, when you open your eyes and return to the world of Caesar, you must bring this new garment with you. You must not take it off. You have died to the old self in the silence, and you have been resurrected as the new self. This is the true meaning of being born again. It is not a religious ritual. It is a psychological transformation. You go into the silence as a beggar, and you come out as a king. And if you remain faithful to this new identity, The world of Caesar, which is nothing but a mirror, will bow before your new reflection. My friends, we are drawing to the close of our time together. But this is not the end. It is the beginning of your real life. I have given you the keys to the kingdom. I have shown you that you are not a cork on the ocean of fate, but the very ocean itself. I have shown you that the world is your consciousness pushed out. I have shown you how to use the night to plant seeds of success and how to use the day to prune the weeds of failure. I have shown you how to retreat into the silence of I am, to renew your strength and redefine your being. The knowledge is now yours. But knowledge alone is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You can listen to 1,000 lectures like this one. You can read every book I have ever written. You can quote scripture and philosophy until the sun goes down. But if you do not do the work, nothing will change. You are the operant power. No one else can do this for you. I cannot do it for you. Your teacher cannot do it for you. Your spouse cannot do it for you. You are the sole architect of your life. You are the captain of your soul. This is a heavy responsibility. I know. It is frightening to realize that there is no one to blame. You can no longer blame your parents for your childhood. You can no longer blame the economy for your poverty. You can no longer blame your ex-partner for your heartbreak. You must take full responsibility for everything in your world. But in that responsibility lies your freedom. For if you created the mess, you can create the masterpiece. If you built the prison, you hold the key to the lock. So I issue you a challenge tonight. I challenge you to test this. Do not take my word for it. I am not asking for your blind belief. I am asking for your bold experimentation. Choose a goal, a specific, definite goal. Apply these principles. Revise your day every evening. Fall asleep in the assumption of the wish fulfilled every night. Walk in the feeling of the end every day. And retreat into the silence of I am. Whenever you feel your faith wavering, give it everything you have. Be radical. Be obstinate. Be unreasonable. And see if the windows of heaven do not open and pour out a blessing such that there is not room enough to receive it. See if the world does not rearrange itself in miraculous ways to aid you. There will be times when you stumble. There will be times when the senses scream that it is not working. There will be times when doubt creeps in like a thief. Do not fear these moments. They are the testing fires that burn away the dross and leave only the pure gold of your faith. When you fall, get up, go back to the silence, reclaim your name. Remind yourself, I am that I am. You are the resurrection and the life. You are the way, the truth, and the light. These are not just words written in an ancient book about a man who lived 2,000 years ago. These are statements about the eternal reality of your own consciousness. You are the resurrection. You resurrection your health when you assume you are healthy. You resurrect your wealth when you assume you are wealthy. You are the life that animates the dead facts of your world. The hour is late, and the world is waiting for you. It is waiting for the true you to step forward. It is waiting for the dreamer to awake. Do not go back to sleep. Do not go back to the small, limited life you lived before you heard this message. You have seen the light. Now walk in it. Carry this presence with you. Let it shine from your eyes. Let it resonate in your voice. Let it guide your steps. You are the creator of your destiny. You are the master of your fate. The kingdom of heaven is not a place you go to when you die. It is a state of consciousness you enter when you awake. It is within you. It has always been within you. Go now and prove it. Go and be the person you wish to be. Go and have the things you wish to have. Go and live the life you were meant to live. There are no limits on you except the limits you place on yourself. Dissolve them in the violet flame of your transmuting love and your creative imagination. You are free. You are powerful. You are divine. Remember who you are. Remember the feeling. Remember the silence. And never forget that the greatest prayer you can ever utter, the prayer that creates worlds and moves mountains, is simply the knowingness of your own being. I leave you now to your own silence, to your own meeting with the God within. Be still and know that I am is God. You have heard the truth. Now, the work begins. Do not keep this light to yourself. If this message has served you, like this video to help it reach others who are still sleeping. Share it with a friend who needs to remember their power. And remember, we explore these mysteries deeply every week. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel now so you do not miss the next step in your evolution. You are the operant power. Go forth and create. I will see you in the next video.